Good morning. My friend Lourdes asked me to do this demonstration to give some idea of working from French into English in simultaneous. I didn't have the script, and to be fair, in the normal way, for a speech like that at the UN, the interpreters would be given the script in advance. But what we wanted to do was just to show what it's like to interpret when you are simply relying on your knowledge of the language and the other knowledge that you need, your general knowledge of the world about you. I had one or two problems with this, you may have noticed. I mean, he was very fast, he was very dense, and at one point he dropped on me an acronym that I'd never heard of. But I think context saved me, because I knew he was talking about the nuclear program in Iran and the efforts that there have been to contain that nuclear program. So I was able just to talk about the agreement. At least I think I did, because I have to admit I haven't yet seen the tape of myself working. I'll do that later, possibly with a glass of whiskey in my hand. Now, when you have something difficult or fast, don't let it knock you off track. Stay on the horse. And even if you didn't get something, you got something wrong, you fluffed your lines, do not worry about it. It's in the past. Leave it alone. Keep going, because there's a good chance if you try and deal with the past problem, you will draw more attention to it than if you simply keep going. He was talking about the world. I mean, it was in fact, for an interpreter, it was a great speech. He was talking about the challenges that we face, global warming, and he was talking about the situation in the Gulf and the Middle East and Syria and so on. And I think what this really illustrates is you need to develop a news habit. When we were training interpreters, we all became complete news junkies. I moved from reading New Musical Express to reading The Guardian or The Times and The Economist, papers like that. And of course, all of you should do that in the various languages that you have. You need to know what's going on in the world around you, which you do by reading the newspaper, by reading magazines, by going online, by reading blogs. There's plenty of information out there, but information that is out there has for the interpreter to be converted into knowledge. You need to know what's going on in the world. Funnily, a high-level meeting like this with heads of state, the situation can be a bit daunting, but in terms of content, it can be a lot easier than some small technical meeting. Macron, for a start, he's a very good speaker. He speaks very fluently, he's very articulate, he's got some clear ideas. But so a meeting like this can be a lot easier than doing the gas enabling legislation at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning in Brussels. When you're working from French into English, be careful, because these are two pretty cognate languages. If you think about English vocabulary, we have a lot of French in it. So don't stick too closely to the French. It's what I think linguists call a calque when you're too close. I'll give you 3 examples, okay? For example, you could say in French, les avantages et les désavantages. You can say in English the advantages and disadvantages, but you can also say the pros and cons, which is what we'd really say. In French, people say, oh, un peu réticent. And people sometimes translate that as reticent, but it doesn't mean reticent in English, it means reluctant. In English, reticent means an unwillingness to speak, not an unwillingness to do something. And another thing you sometimes hear people say is, oh, il accepte à faire quelque chose. You don't say in English, I accept to do something, although you hear people saying it all the time. You agree to do something in English. So there's little points like that that I would say that you should watch out for. And apart from that, I don't have a great deal to say. You'll have noticed, and I'm waving my pen around in front of you now, I do like to have a bit of paper next to me so I can write things down. And I think it's very good, because numbers, ideas, sometimes you're working from a speech which is very dense, and they'll say something and you'll write it down, and you might be able to bring it in a bit later even. That's a technique that I sometimes use. I don't make a habit of it, but sometimes it is useful to do that. And also just to jot down a couple of things, Yemen or Iran or all these various things that they're saying. It's a kind of safety blanket for me, and it's strange, but if I haven't got a pen, I can't kind of put on the microphone. I think that's about all I really have to say. I hope that you find this useful, and you know, and if you're studying to be an interpreter, good luck. Hang in there.